So it's a very interesting topic. So, but let's start with the basics. So, what is actually the red stain on our dogs? We have a lot of products that you can put on the stains, and they might get rid of them for a certain time, and you're gonna see them coming again. Might change the food, and they're gonna come again, and they're gonna change. You're gonna change some sort in a lifestyle. They're gonna come again. You're gonna try another products for a while. It's gonna be okay, but they're gonna come again, and you have all of these questions like, how do I get rid of my red stains on my little dog? So let's dive in a little deeper in what these red stains are. Actually, everything leads back to a microbiome, so it goes back to a gut. It's very much connected with the gut, because when the problem in the gut exists, the entire dog's body have another pH level. So the pH level of body gets a little more acidic, so the pH of the entire body drops. It's not, the skin is not anymore in a neutral state like it should be, around 7ish, regardless, like depending on the time of the year, the food and diet, probably that as well, but it should be around 7ish, so kind of neutral position. But when during the circumstances that we're going to go over tonight, we're going to see that actually lowering the pH level of the body, especially lowering the pH level of the microbiome area, that helps gut get actually the entire microbiome, I mean like probiotics, got killed, because they should actually, in order for them to survive and to thrive, they need to very much alkaline atmosphere to do their job. And what is their job? Their job is actually digestion. What happens in the stomach, like in the stomach, right? That's the stomach, yeah? The food got like mashed and mushed all with those acids and everything, and then it goes into a small intestines, where they meet the probiotics, and they get all of those liver juices and pancreas juices, and everything of that start to be digested, to the small particles get absorbed, and then through the blood and lymph comes to cells inside the body. So the most important part of the dog's body is this microbiome. That's so important. We should consider that gut and that microflora, the like probiotics, that entire system that exists in the dog's gut is actually the entire organ on its own. And we shouldn't agree to any problem that our dogs have, like, oh, my dog has a gastrointestinal issues, and they cannot eat this and they cannot eat that. But on the end of the day, and then we agree to those diagnoses, and we don't ever recover that little thing. And what the little thing is, actually, it's a gut of our dog. So let's try again to go back to we are back to our PLH formula equals open side, like communication plus nutrition plus coat care times X. And X is U. This is U. And we said that X impacts the communication, X impacts the nutrition, and X impacts the coat care. So all of this equals well-being. So well-being of our dog. And if we want to come here to understand like why my dog has these tears, we need to see three things out of this part of the formula. Like all four are actually very much connected to why your dog have tears. Because in order for your dogs to have tears, first they need to cry. And we're gonna focus on that, why the dog cry, by the end of this video, okay? But let's see like what's going on inside the dog's microbiome. So they have this pH level of their body is actually very much intact. So when the pH body of the pH, so now remember that I said like if we really want to, we shouldn't agree to our dog's diagnosis. we shouldn't agree that if someone said like, you dog have a problem with the stomach and they need to, they need to live forever now to this on this prescription diet, and now you need to give them only this shit food that's actually some whatever company made it for you. And when you open and see all of that ingredients, nothing of that is a human grade ingredient that goes into a dog food. It's actually animal food. It shouldn't be. And then we have all of this, I love my dog and I want to give him the best out of the best. And yet somehow we end up in this matrix in which we think that some corporation have a bigger interest of our dog than us on its own, on our own. So, and now when we kind of like, we said, okay, like my dog has problems with the stomach and he cannot digest, and let's give my dog only this food, and let's start going with this, whatever food brand we chose to do. And then slowly, because that's all synthetics minerals and all synthetics vitamins and everything that's inside is someone somewhere made these Excel sheets like how much dog needs this and that, and then all of that is mixed together and then placed in that bag, and it even has a little looks like all of that looks like a little piece of meat, and that tells you that actually dog food is not made for dogs. The dog food has those little chunks of whatever they are, the briquettes, how you call that? Briquetti, kako se kaže to? Granules, right? Not for the dog, but for us. So we have this subliminal message of that we are feeding some sort of dry meat to our dog. So that's how far away that marketing goes. So, and then when I give that to my dog, what happens inside his body? His body gets lazy, because doesn't need to produce nothing. Minerals are okay, because minerals you need to eat, you need to take it from outside. But a lot of vitamins are actually synthesized within the dog's body, especially in the like a small intestines, and then later on in the how you call that? Debelotrevo, how you call that?
Small intestine.
No, small intestines, how you call the big one? The Debelotrevo. Okay, the big one, I don't know. Whether I'm gonna help me how to translate it in English. So, and a lot of like a B12 is produced inside the colon. Okay, so inside the colon. So a lot of vitamins are actually having they are having also kind of like they have a value, and they are like considered the hormones. Some of them, many of them are actually, because they are released because of the trigger, and then the microbiome actually help generate those vitamins. But if we are always feeding our dogs with the synthetic vitamins that are coming in their body, then the body will actually say, oh, we don't need to produce this anymore, and then we need to stop. And that's why we have so much transitioning. Some dogs cannot transition so easily from the kibbles into a fresh made human grade food, because we need time to awaken all of those memories of all of those gut need to be awakened, and everything need to be awakened in order for organism and body to start producing all of those juices and the vitamins that are actually forgotten to do that. It's the same kind of like a interaction when you have all of those young boys taking testosterone, like to build them up, and then slowly the producement of the natural testosterone stops, because the body keeps getting artificial ones, and they say, I'm getting it from out there, I don't need to produce mine. And that there are long-standing consequences to that. So we should be very careful which kind of food we are choosing to feed our dogs with, because all of that helps microbiome got caught in drama, in that place. And then the microbiome always adjusts itself to a food. That's why, and it's very easy for dogs. And then, it's very interesting preparing myself for this class or whatever the episode. Like I was reading, and they said like a human and the dog that lives together in the same environment have a microbiome that's so much alike, much more than some other dogs on other humans on the other spectrum of the for example, let's say on the other part of the street. So that's how we are connected to our dogs, and that's how much is important that through the communication, proper nutrition, and coat care, we take our lifestyle into theirs. So we welcome them into our lifestyle. We don't adjust our lifestyle to theirs. We let them have a space so they can find a way to adjust to our lifestyle. And that's what leads us to a well-being of the dogs. But let's come back to a microbiome. When that's actually set apart because of no matter what reason. Okay, now I was evaluating part that leads to bad nutrition. How our bad nutrition choices are making dogs' microbiome be killed by not needing to be active, and usually adapt itself to digest primarily carbohydrates and all of those minerals and vitamins that maybe the organism would be able to use them, but it will be slowly turning off the switchers for producing them. Okay, that's how we are actually kicking in with creating a microbiome by not taking care literally. We are doing that from the biggest love that we have toward our dogs. We choose the best for them because we want to nourish them, but we are, stuck and caught in this tremendously environment environment of the monopoly of the food industry that are frightening you, that you cannot, it's not possible for you to know how to cook for your dog, and it's dangerous and they're gonna die, and all kind of bullshit that they're putting on us. And then we have the final spectrum. It's a coat care, but we're gonna touch base with that next time. Last time I was talking about the communication with the dogs. How do we, through our communication, impact our dog's well-being? Today, I'm gonna focus a little more about the nutrition. How do we impact the nutrition of our dogs? And the next time we're gonna talk about, just to give you a little glimpse about, is how important is that you care about your dog, especially if you are living in urban settings, if you have yourself like living in some city or in some, you always need to know how polluted our environment is. And as much as we would love to have our dogs groomed and beautiful and this and that, we cannot forget that we should take care about them, especially if they live in our bed, if you sleep with your dog or things like that. You should really consider taking care about your dog much more often, especially when it comes to a baiting, because now it's for the dog's life is dangerous to live in a city as on a such high level of pollution, because all of those pollutants are, those particles and nanoparticles are just, flowing down from the air, attaching themselves to the skin, to the lanolin of the skin, and the dog is, using his little pads to walk on all of those oils and antifreezes and all kind of those things. No matter how do you protect them, they always end up on their coat. Next thing you know, the dog licks itself a little bit here and a little bit there, and for a long period of time enough to come to the point where actually I'm talking about this very emotionally, because suddenly I have like a couple of clients that I'm trying to use all of my knowledge and connections to help go through, but they are suffering the enormous kidney failures. And the kidney failures come due to poisoning. No, they didn't eat nothing poisonous today. They ate poison over the significant long period of time because they were told that it's very dangerous for their dog to be baited once a week. And what you get instead of that, you get a poisoned dog through the course of 10, 15 years because you just happen to live downtown Miami, New York, or wherever you are, and next thing you know, your dog suffers like a kidney failure. How the heck that happened overnight? It was not overnight. It was not overnight. But let's I was just, I welcome you to the next episode where we're going to go deeper into a coat care and why it's important to think about not only coat care as a matter of the grooming, but as or the cuteness, but the coat care as a matter of the well-being of the dog. Okay, come back to a nutrition portion. How important is to feed the dog with your leftovers? So that's very important to understand. The leftovers of the dog is something that we could present to the dog. And if you go to our webpage, you will see myplh.com. myplh.com. That's a web page of our Pure Love and Harmony Institute, and there you can see the tab where it says past studies that you can go and analyze, like what kind of studies we conducted in order to learn all of these things that we are sharing with you now. And then you can see our current studies, and then you will see one study that we are at the moment performing with our team on site down in Hyderabad, India. In Hyderabad, India, there is a big project of ours going on at the moment where we are observing for quite some time now life of the dogs in a generational, religious, vegetarian and vegan settings. But not only the places where the people are living that way in urban settings of the vegetarian, choiceful vegetarian diet of the families that has a dog, that they just don't eat meat. So there is no meat, and now no one is buying meat to feed the dog. What the dogs are eating there is the leftovers of the families, but those are like urban settings of this. That's a feeding the dog by choice with the vegetarian diet. And then, like on the same area of that, you have a couple of villages that are very rural and very villages that you would see on TikToks and things like that, where everything is open and everyone is in everyone's house and everyone's part of and you will see dogs living there just on their own, and they are free to move wherever they choose to. So if they would be just a little more if they would put a little more effort in that, they would be able to move like a couple of maybe tens or hundreds of miles, maybe tens of miles away from that village, in order to find the settings where they would be able to get meat. Because in these villages, they will not have a meat because there is no meat. And all the leftovers that you can see are left after the big markets or on the Thursdays or things like that. You would see all of these groups of the dogs are coming to the places where the people are left their fruits and veggies, and just to choose from there and eat until entire week until the next market comes. So those dogs are carnivores. Those dogs are living environment they are free to go wherever they choose to. Yet, because of no matter what reason, they choose to stay in that environment and eat and survive on a vegetarian, almost vegan kind of diet. So we are conducting a study now, so we come to the point of how it's important that the dog lives on the feet of their master. And in order for them to live on the feet of their master, they need to be offered the food that the master is eating. Not necessarily that it will be a leftover of your cooked meat. And with this, environment consciousness and the climate catastrophe that we are kind of living and going through, regardless of whose responsibility and this and which kind of conspiracy theorist or real deal or whatever it's kind of like going on through your mind, on whichever spectrum we are, we just need to try living more consciously about to prepare the food that we're going to actually eat without throwing so much food away. And there is no need for dog to eat our leftovers, because there is no need for the leftovers of the human food if we would just be a little more cautious of how much food we prepare, even we eat that food during one time or second time or course of one or two meals, but everything we display, that we prepare for us, it should be eaten by us. But then from the same ingredients that we are making our food, just without spices, it should be prepared the food for the dog. And that's how actually we get into that already part, like where the communication and nutritional portion of this formula are interacting and intermingling. It's because if you prepare the food for your dog, you are actually committed to a communication ritual that we promised to our dogs 14,000 years ago that we're gonna do that. So it's a part of the communication ritual by feeding the dog through our leftovers. So again, it's not a food that's too much spiced up and prepared for us and just left what we didn't eat for lunch, because we should slowly start teaching ourselves that everything we prepared for ourselves is actually consumed by us. Nothing goes to the garbage. And then on the other side, you have a little more food that you can share with your dogs just before you put your pizza to be cooked. Portions of the pizza that the dog can eat are placed into a dog little bowl, or you cook for him or whatever without spices. But also through this program, slowly, and through these sessions, we're going to go through the cooking classes as well. But let's come back now to the point of the gut and how the gut impacts the light of the dog, because as I told you last time, when the dog is under the stress and the stress level is high, the microbiome is on attack, because the microbiome is an organ on its own. It's a system on its own that is responsible for the immune system. A high level of the cortisol lowers the immune system. Compressed immune system is actually compressed the gut. Gut is a compressed. There is no some magical part of our, it's a complete, the immune system of the dog's body is a completely complex way of interaction, and how and where that boost of the immunity comes through to the cells to fight all kind of diseases that are on, or cancerous cells, or everything that are produced in our bodies on a daily basis. Tens of thousands of cells are able to be triggered and to start producing a cancerogenic tissue. But until the immune system is strong enough to fight those cells, we don't need to care about nothing, neither for us, neither for our dogs. The problem is compressed immune system, when those cells are accumulating over time and just at one stage become much greater than the organism itself. How did we get there? Through the constant stress. How do we get out there? Just first lower the stress. How do I lower the stress? Think about this relationship first. It's not our baby, even though we are parents of theirs. And I'll talk about just in a second from now. So back to this wonderful organism that can be compressed by immune system. But let's say we are now overcome those obstacles. We communicate with our dog properly using their language, so they understand what we are asking from them. And we create an environment in which they're consciously, with that consciousness that they have, choose willingly to cooperate and provide us with acceptable and desirable behavior without us training them to do that. That's the purest form of the freedom. When you offer freedom to someone, and out from the biggest love and loyalty, they choose to do the right things towards you without being forced or blackmailed to do so. So that's where we can master our communication to it. When it comes to nutrition, there is a significant, very important point to this. How do we treat the problem of the stains? It's not a cosmetic problem. It's an interaction in between you, in between the stress, and in between the nutrition, because those two things can lower the immune system, or in this case, change the pH level of the body. Because the dogs, then when the dog's liquid comes out from their body, and it can come on the different stages. It can come from the tears, it can come from the saliva, it can come from the sweating glands on the pads. It can come again from the saliva on the different parts of the places where they, lick themselves because of the saliva again. It's not in saliva, it's nothing to do with the tears. It's to do with the wetness that the tears leave after they leave body. So if those tears have a pH level that's very good for the bacteria to be developed on, and because of the high level of the temperature, the body of the dogs is approximately in between 38 to 38.5 Celsius. I don't know how much that in Fahrenheit is. And then that's nice and hot, I can say so. And then now you have a nice wet area around and a beautiful place for bacteria to start making the colonies out there. The colonies that we see, the red mark that we see, and we call it red tears, are not actually red tears. They are like tears, normal tears, like tears, liquid, non-colored tears, that they are leaving a mark. And because now entire area is wet, it's very nice and hot because of the body temperature, and now it's a great place for colony to start growing. So once you see the redness around the things, it's an expression. It's actually the proof that you have now the colonies of the bacteria around that are leaving that process of their metabolism and oxidation when they're of the dead ones are actually leaving that what we call like red stains. Now there is a lot of cosmetology that can be magic dusted on top of that. You can eat something, and what do you eat when you buy anything that you drink for these things? And those guys had a lot to fight for and against, because they said we do not put antibiotics inside. So how do you kill the bacteria? You kill the bacteria with the antibiotics. So there is a couple of ways to deliver antibiotics to the things. By something, you take it and you put it on top of them, so they are killed by the antibiotics of some sort. You can also have a very natural antibiotics in lot of herbs. You can find essential oils, and the part of their essential oils, part of their oils of the like oregano oil or the garlic. All of them can act as a antibiotic, but not necessarily you will put oregano oil or the garlic on your dog's eyes. But you can create a lot of products that might work on the same way, creating this potential of the dog releasing the tears and all of those liquids that goes out, fluid that goes out from the dog's body, already with the antibiotics. So the dog's body, so because the tears are with the antibiotics, the bacteria cannot form colonies. So now you are thinking that you actually cured your dog from the tears, where actually you created a wonderful environment for the gut to be almost killed, for the microbiome to be killed. So how do we do here now? How do we work with this? Even if you stop now we need to do two things. We need to recover the microbiome of the dogs, and we need to stop dogs from crying. Because if dog wouldn't cry, there wouldn't be anything under their eyes. You have dogs that cry, and you have another dogs that don't cry. Even if they're white, they just don't cry. Even if they are black, they might have also the red stains, but they wouldn't be visible because of the black color or the brown color. They are just not seen because of the color. But they are there, they're present. So, and then there is no magic pill for this, don't forget. Because even if we fix the nutrition, there is still a communication course happening, because you see nutrition is impacted directly by the decision of you. Whatever you choose your dog to eat, it's gonna eat. Whatever you give to your dog to eat, it's gonna eat. No matter who you listen what you should feed your dog with, it's gonna eat whatever you choose. So you impact the nutrition of the dog. If you impact the nutrition of the dog, you directly impact the well-being of the dog. And there is a magic thing. If you learn something, you can change the diet. but also if you change the diet and you make it the best possible diet in the world, if you do not fix the communication in between you guys, the dog still might live in an environment that we might say, oh, my dog loves me a lot and my dog doesn't have a problem. He loves me so much that he follows me everywhere I go. And then you read the scientific papers where it says that the dogs that are follow their owners around the home have a chance over 70% to develop some of the very, very heavily and very, very aggressive cancers over the course of years, especially when in their older state, because of the stress. So that's not that the dog does love me, so that's why he follows me. The dog follows you because dog doesn't trust you. The dog doesn't trust you that you can survive without the dog, so they follow you wherever you go. And you might not be even aware of that until something happens later in the life when the immune system got shut down because of the overall stress the dog spent his life in. That's why we need to stop looking at our dogs as something and start communicating and telling them and projecting on them these human traits. The dogs are not our children, even though we are their parents. And that's very important to understand. Because in the grand scheme of the evolution, when that happened, the dogs created like that when the pack of the wolves separated in two. And the alpha continued to lead the pack inside, but there was a significant portion of the pack called omega wolves that were able now, when they saw possibility to enter and get closer to the humans, to find a chance there. The moment the omega wolves start breeding among themselves, some other traits for survival became more important. But what's happening? The omega wolves are not equipped with the tools to survive without being provided with the food. So the parents of the actual omega wolves are the alpha wolves. They went, they left, they're still far away. And this theory is very, very well known and equipped in a lot of scientific studies, not so much quoted, but very important to understand, because otherwise we won't be understanding how important we are in the dogs' lives, much more than they are to us. And when you understand that this little omega portion of the pack was starting to reproduce itself, making itself closer to humans than to their parents there, what happened here is that the wolves chose to have their new parents in the shape of the humans. And with that said, the very important to understand is that the dogs are forever, no matter how old they are and no matter which breed they are and how they look, they are forever wolf puppies. There is such an occult phenomena that's called neoteny. Neoteny means that you protect yourself by keeping the baby traits, the infant traits, because that traits are providing you possibility for more, giving you more chance of survival. So if those dogs trap themselves into mentally and kind of like physically into because they're cute, mentally because they need order, they need structure, they need parents because they traded parents. Alpha and the wolf go there and I'm gonna have someone else take care of me. So we are the parents of the dogs, but the dogs are not our children. When we start baby talking to them, and that's nothing, there is no magic pill. Here maybe, with the nutrition maybe, you can have a good advice, you can change the food, you can get someone else to coach you, you can buy the great recipe for your dog. But even with the best nutrition, without dog that's living in the quiet environment, that nutrition wouldn't be able to be accepted. Because why? Because the microbiome is killed with what? With the cortisol. Where the cortisol come from? From you are my sweetest baby in the world. You are all my love. You are everything to me. Mommy misses you so much. And that burden is immediately on the dog like, oh my God, I am her baby. I am replacement. I am something I'm not able to fulfill. And that's where we actually come to a point of interacting with other human beings, other human beings, by the orders of love. And with the other creatures on this planet, other species, we interact according to the other laws that I named order of harmony. So we can love our fellow human and we can be in harmony with our beautiful four-legged dogs. That's the highest level of respect, when all the peace comes together. But then how do we survive that? How do I survive knowing that my love for my dog is actually killing them? How do I survive by maybe doubting this what I'm talking now? Or you get angry or agitated, or you don't agree, you disagree, you cut this off what I'm talking, and you come back tomorrow, maybe listen it again. Because some little echo will start telling the story about, did I cross the line? And can I still come back until it's not too late? How deep and how much I'm entangled, and how can I detach myself from that love that actually is love that kills, and get myself in a relationship with my dog that's a love that holds the future, the love that generates the future for both of us, out from this respect and responsibility that we have to care about someone that cannot care about and for themselves. So now we are to the point, like, why the dogs cry. Every single one of you that has a dog with the tears should step back and see, why do I make you cry? Why do I make you cry? What your tears are telling me? What's the story you cannot tell, so your wet eyes need to tell it instead of you? And you will always see that there is much bigger picture behind those tears. And you are ready, because if you're listening to this message and if you're doubting it, no matter on which level of your consciousness and your mind, your heart is ready for it. The question that comes and arises from here is, how do I make you stop? How do I make you stop crying? What shall I do in order to become a master that you will be really able to relax yourself next to, without following me around, without any kind of sort of anxiety, without anything that will hijack your body, your well-being, and your life from yourself and the years to come from us both? Half of the dog over the course of the year, their lifetime, half of the dogs, that maybe goes lately in the statistic that's over half percent, 60% of the dogs, they said that statistics that tend to develop some sort of the cancer during the course of their later years. And then what we can do to prevent that? Like, we have the entire formula in our hand, but it's not a magic pill. It's something that we need to work our ass off to make it right. Because the moment I start seeing my dog and someone that depends on me like a child, but it's not my child, and how do I not cross the line, even though if I call myself a pet parent? Where is the line that I don't make my dog suffer for my selfishness? I do understand that maybe sometime I needed a hand to go through the hardship in my life. But if I keep doing it wrong way, the depression wouldn't disappear. It's going to be even greater and greater. If we do not wake up on call, we're going to both lose, because that's the love that kills. That's the love that doesn't bring the future. That's the love that's entangled. And entangled loyalty through the lenses of the family constellation is payment for the unfinished job. Either we're going to do that, or either we're going to let our children do it for us, because that's the same way we got it from our parents and the ancestors from behind. Because they didn't do it. Not because they didn't want to, but because they didn't have the tools, they didn't know about it, and it was not about to be taught. But now, when we are open to all of this that is in front of us, then knowing it, that we can do something, and choosing, for no matter what reason and excuse, not to do, comes with the greater consequences. The idea of knowing and not knowing, regardless, when we jump with the parachute and we don't open it because we didn't know we should do it, or we didn't open it because we didn't want to open it, we're gonna both die at the same time. Regardless, did I open it because I didn't know, or I didn't open it because I didn't know what should I do, so I didn't know and I died, or I didn't want to open it because I know what's coming. One of those two is considered suicide. So what's the outcome of those two? The result is the same, but what comes after, it's not the same. And that's what comes every single time when we are delivered a message that we are not acting upon. The golden courage of the possibilities in our life will never stop coming, but they would come through the more intense experiences in our life. The bad relationship that's not worked on become in the next relationship even worse. And then we run away from that one. If not fixed, then we come, and then the level of the stages of the unpleasant experiences just keep increasing until we can't handle it anymore. And all what it takes is a decision to find the way, decision that love that holds the future can be, that the life in abandonment can be, that the life in greatness can be. It's allowed to be, and you don't need to do it alone. You seek for help, you seek for guidance, you seek for hand, and someone gonna take you over the bridge, the little narrow, someone gonna take you through the darkest wood on the other side. You don't need to do it alone. And that's where our dogs come in a picture. But the dogs are the signal. The job needs to be done. They can't do it instead of us, but they will do it everything to help us do it. Even they'll go and die for that, sacrifice themselves for our salvation, our freedom, our success, and our life. It's not about what you do to cure your dog's red tears. It's about how you embrace them as a signal to wake up. Thank you so much for a wonderful Thursday again, an emotional one. Next time we're gonna dive in later into this. Next week we're gonna dive in coat care from the perspective that I just slightly brushed here. Until then, I give you a big hug, and I love you for who you are, and I know that you can do it, and you don't need to do it alone. Find around yourself help, source, and resource to help you get through it. Thank you so much, and until next Thursday, I wish you all the best. Bye.